And to shed more light on this issue, we are joined over the phone by His Excellency Amr Ramadan, former Assistant Minister for European Affairs and former Ambassador to Norway. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
So, addressing the 8th high-level meeting of Chief Justices of African Constitutional Higher Courts and Constitutional Councils, Minister of Justice said that the Higher Constitutional Court will continue cooperation with all African countries according to directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. What is the importance of this conference to the judicial sector in Egypt?
This is very important that the judiciary in Egypt extends cooperation with brotherly African countries. They have a lot to gain and learn from our experiences, and we also have to see their challenges and also gain from their experiences. Many African countries have undergone changes in the last few years, and these changes, of course, were protected by the constitutions of these countries.
Yes, Mr. Amr, how does this conference in Cairo reflect Egypt's role and importance to the African continent?
Of course, Egypt is probably one of the largest, if not the largest African country. It's the eldest African country in the continent, with 7,000 years of living in Africa. And also, we have a lot of cooperation going with many African countries, either bilaterally or through the African Union arrangements. And that would include, of course, cooperation between different entities and the judiciary as well. So as you mentioned, today was the 8th high-level meeting, and this is a continuation of Egypt's cooperation arm and extending its capacities to deal with and help African countries. And as I mentioned, to have mutual exchanges and learn from them as well.
So, Sir, Councillor Boulis Fahmy said that this year's session is held amid exceptional conditions that our countries run through. And he said that a constitutional approach is needed to face the unusual circumstances and risks imposed by these conditions. How do you read his statement?
I think that was a very wise statement and very to-the-point remark as well. And if you read between the lines, it actually fits on what I mentioned at the beginning of my intervention, that many African countries have undergone political changes in the last few years. Some of them actually witnessed coup d'etat and so on. And if the country has a solid constitution, it will protect against dramatic changes to the society as long as it has this very important legal document that combine and the people actually stand behind.
Yes, sir, who also said that the great challenges that faced our countries in recent years have made us more persistent to continue drive to achieve a cultural rise up based on principles of coexistence. Also, how do you read this statement?
Again, I mean, the Constitution is the highest document, the highest piece of paper for any society. It comes even before the laws that the Parliament approves. So it is the highest legal, if you'd like to say, doctrine for each country. So the reference to the constitutional cooperation and also the reference to the help between the judiciary and those involved in constitutional courts or high councils is very important in that context.
So, sir, one final question. How such a gathering of heads of African constitutional courts in Cairo show the deep relations between Egypt and the African countries?
You can see this from the attendance, the high level of attendance to the event, and also, again, choosing Cairo. I mean, choosing Cairo is not an Egyptian decision. It's a decision by Egypt, offered by Egypt, which garners the support of other African countries. So the fact that Egypt is hosting, Cairo is hosting the 8th high-level session is an attestation of itself how African brothers view Egypt as the main destination point for their cooperation when it comes to constitutional and legal cooperation.
I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Amr Ramadan, former Assistant Foreign Minister for European Affairs and former Ambassador to Norway. Thank you for being with us. A short break and we'll be back, so stay tuned.